Today we are going to talk about the sum of a geometric progression. Let's just start out with a problem. So let's take this problem here. Suppose we want to find the sum of the following geometric progression. Say 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus ... plus 512 plus 1024. So we're going all the way up from by adding 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16 plus 32 plus 64 and all the way up to 512 plus 1024. But before we start adding all these terms together, all these numbers together, and we end up with a sum, let's try to think for a moment. We can actually make this problem easier by simply adding 1 to the whole geometric progression. So what we will start by doing is adding 1 to the above geometric progression. Plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 all the way up to 512 plus 1024. Okay. And by doing so, we simply end up with 2 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 all the way up to 512 plus 1024. Okay, and you might see where this is going now because, well, now we simply add 2. So we have 4 plus 8 and, well, the similar as above plus 512 plus 1024. Again, we simply add 8 plus 8 plus all the way up to 512 plus 1024. And we keep going one more time, 16 plus all the way up to 512 plus 1024. And I don't want to keep going any longer, so now let's try to find some kind of structure or symmetric properties of what's going on here. So if we keep going like we have done so far, we just simply keep going with like 16 plus 16, 32 plus 32 until the sum. So the sum is two numbers added together of two of the same numbers added together until the sum is equal 1024 divided by 2. Okay, which is equal to, let me just think for a moment, that should be 512. Yeah, so we simply keep adding all those numbers up until we have the sum of two numbers which equals to 512. But 512 divided by 2 simply equals 256. So we keep going until we have, say, 256 plus 256, which equals to 512 plus 512. Okay, plus the 1024. But before we make this kind of assumption, we want to check if we, by keep doubling the sum starting from 1 plus 1, will we at some point end up with 256 plus 256? Is that possible? And the answer to that question is simply yes. That is possible. Yes. Why is it possible? Well, because if we have, say, a natural number x multiplied by 1 plus 1 equals 256, we simply have that x equals 256 divided by 2, which equals 128. And 128 is an even number, so if we keep continuing in similar fashion from before, we had 16 plus all the way up to 1024. If we keep going from there, at some point we simply end up with 256 plus 256 plus 512 plus 1024 because of the above calculations, and kind of we have shown that this is where we end up. So, well, that is simply equal to 512 plus 512 plus 1024, which is equal to 1024 plus 1024, which equals 2048. Okay, so now we have figured out that the sum of the original... Oh, that was not so straight. Let me check here. Okay, yeah. So we have figured out that the sum of the original geometric progression, we wanted to find the sum of this plus 4 plus 8, that's plus 512 plus 1024. We want to find the sum of this, but we simply added 1 to this geometric progression. So the sum of this is equal to 2048 if we add 1 plus the whole sum here. So if we want to figure it out without the 1 added, we simply minus the 1 here, which equals 2047. So we have figured out that the sum of the original problem of the geometric progression, 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16 plus all the way up to plus 512 plus 1024 is simply equal to 2048 minus 1, which equals 2047.